Welcome to This Week in Campbell Football, brought to you by our friends at Precision Ford. With Campbell head coach Mike Minter, I'm Chris Hemeyer. And Coach, your team coming off their second bye of the season. What did you guys work on last week?
Well, last week was, looking at the first 5 weeks of the season and the type of things that we needed to improve on, the type of things that, we wasn't doing so well. You talk about the penalties. I think the last couple of games, that kind of got out of control. I think we got to begin to, understand technique, how to finish. We also went good against good, ones against ones, so we can get the speed of what it's going to look like when we get back into action. And so, we spent a lot of time doing that. But it was, we went Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, quick practices, but just really working on the fundamentals of who we are as a football team. We know what that is now. How can we get better in those areas? And then we used that week to get people healthy. Jalen Kelsey was injured, and so it gave him a chance to kind of relax a little bit and get that body back for this week. And so you look at all that and you kind of get excited about the fact that you had a second bye week because you really, really, really needed during that time.
And how was this second bye week, Coach, different than your first bye week almost a month ago?
Well, it was no difference. The only difference was the time. That was it. We did the same exact schedule we did the first week, bye week, that we did this bye week. The other coaches, so me and the coordinator stayed on campus and worked on us, and every other coach was off campus working on the future of trying to recruit guys to come to Campbell University. And so it wasn't any different. The guys worked hard. We went full pads, and we trying to get better. And so we come back Monday and worked on Monday, so we kind of get an extra day. And, of course, you get back into your regular routine of what you got to do in order to try to win this football game this week.
A new Big South member, Hampton, comes down from the Tidewater area to take on your Camels for homecoming. It's going to be quite a game, 4 o'clock this Saturday at Barker Lane Stadium. Now, Coach, when we look at this Hampton team, one of the many things that stands out about Hampton is the FBS transfers that are on their roster, including this guy, quarterback DeAndre Francois, who started at Florida State. He was the ACC Offensive Rookie of the Year his freshman year.
Well, Francois can play. We know that. Being a starter as a rookie, as a freshman at Florida State, and really just you look at all the transfers that transfer from Florida State and go to another FBS powerhouse and take them. So it's kind of surprising to see him, at Hampton to come down because of his name and his pedigree and what he brings to the table. But when you look at Hampton in this offense, these guys can score. They're a big play offense. They're going to stretch you vertically, and they got two great running backs too now. But this 81, this guy can run, and 15. The other transfer, I believe he was at Wake Forest, and he was a leading receiver for 2 years before he came to Hampton. He can play, big physical receiver, and so these guys got weapons everywhere. So Francois, I know he's happy with the fact that they got an offensive line that can protect him. He can take off with his legs and hurt you, and he got weapons all over the field that he can throw the ball to. I think they threw the ball 51 times. Last week against Gardner Webb, and they came up short. They had an opportunity to win the game, or at least tie the game at the end, and the ball was, I think, overthrown or something like that, and number 16 wasn't too happy. He kicked the pylon, and I said, wow, okay. that was a tough way of ending it, and but this team, well coached, they're going to come in fired up. All right. If you look at their season, this is their deal. They won their first game, they lose the second game. They win the third game, lose the fourth game. Win the fifth game, lose the sixth game. Okay, we got to break that trend. Okay, so they win, lose, and right now they coming in here expecting to win, and this is a great football team. Just trust me when I tell you, as far as their defense up front, these guys do not give you anything. You cannot run the football against them. I think Gardner-Webb is a really, really good football team at running the football. I think they had like 58 total yards at rushing. These guys do not give up any yards because of up front. You got some guys up front that can get it done at the linebacker spot, at the D-line spot. I really love their secondary. I like their corners. They play well. It's zero coverage all game, so you better have some guys back there that can cover, and they do. So this will be a big challenge coming off of a bye week. I'm glad we're fresh. I'm glad we had a chance to heal up to go on this 6 weeks run, because this is going to be tough. And you know, coming up first is Hampton, and you know, it's going to be fun to, you know, be in a conversation. That's what you want, to be in a conversation in October and November, and now you're in that conversation. You got a great opponent coming in to challenge you to see how much you have improved since the last time you've been on the field against Presbyterian.
Well, speaking of the conversation, your team receiving votes in both the coaches and media poll, that's the first time this has happened in program history. What does that say about what the nation is doing to take notice of your Camels?
Well, you know, when it's the coaches, it means something, because these guys, we watch film, we really prepare week in and week out. We know what we're looking at, so you really know what good football look like. And for you to be getting votes from the coaches in their poll, that's unbelievable. I mean, that's respect that we have gained over the first 5 weeks. But guess what? It's only 5 weeks. It means absolutely nothing. We got to continue to get better. We got to continue to attack. And yeah, so you know, that it's like what Nick Saban said, man. That's rat poison, right? we don't want none of that. We want to focus on trying to get better each and every week.
Well, it's going to be fun. 4 o'clock this Saturday. Tickets at GoCamels.com. It's homecoming. The game starts at 4, but we've got the parade here at Buies Creek at noon. At 12:30, the Alumni Village opens up. Homecoming, always fun. We want to see you there at Barker Lane Stadium. Speaking of homecoming, of course, you know, I used my bye Saturday without football to go see a football game, so went back to Missouri, took the family and took the wife for her first Missouri homecoming. There's Mom, Dad, and my beautiful wife, Jessie. And it got me thinking, Coach, right here, this is the same football stadium, Faurot Field in Columbia, Missouri, where you and I were at the same football game at the same time. We didn't know each other, but the fall of 1996, you were a senior at Nebraska coming off back-to-back national championships. I was a sophomore in the stands, and I saw you do that to my Tigers. The Cornhuskers crushed the Tigers 51-7. It gets worse, folks. Coach, your 4 years at Nebraska, you went 4-0 against Missouri, and you beat my Tigers by a combined score, this is absolutely true, of 199-21. That guy right there. And how about this next picture? How'd you look older in college than you do right now, Coach?
Oh, that's amazing. See, what we used to do, we used to cut our hair off right before training camp. But look at you.
Look, that's how I looked going into my freshman year. But I wanted to point something out, Coach. Yes, you were an All-American. You won national championships. How about that? The Columbia Missourians, Rockbridge High School, male Scholar Athlete of the Year. I'm just showing the comparison. Both of us in college, things were maybe a little bit different for us, but that's where it's so funny how circles come around. And then, of course, later, the first time you and I ever talked, it was in the Carolina Panthers locker room. I was a Cub reporter just out of college working in Eastern North Carolina. And look at us now on this great set, working for a scholarship football team. It comes full circle.
It's amazing how God put people together, right? You never know where you're going to cross paths again, but we did, you know. Like, we didn't know each other in Missouri when we was beating your head in, but that's okay, right? But, you know, you got the chance coming to the Panther locker room, and we talked at that time. And then, you know, You still look good though, man. I tell you what. I mean that 80s style haircut.
I'm telling you.
What was it? Saved by the Bell.
Yeah,
that's what that
was.
was.
That was a Zach Morris right
Yeah.
there. I was wearing a white collar as well. We both dress a little better than we did back then, and it's awesome that we're on the same team. And we want to see you support this team. 4-1, 1-0 in the Big South Conference. Campbell and Hampton for homecoming. We won't bring up any old pictures of you if you come to the game at Barker Lane Stadium. If you can't make it, we'll be on ESPN+. For Coach, I'm Chris. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week on This Week in Campbell Football.